Hey guys, we are back with another chassis from Fractal Design. This is the Define XL Black Pearl, which very much resembles some of Antec's P-Series cases, thus serving as a perfect example of head-on competition. The chassis is a larger sibling to the highly popular R3 case that truly showcases what Fractal Design really care about, and that is functionality with great cooling at a reasonable price. So with expectations set quite high for this case, let's take a look. This full tower is priced at $150 and weighs close to 40 pounds. The heavy construction is due to a fully steel frame and body, with the front panel being the only plastic element on the exterior. And with this much steel incorporated into the chassis, it feels extremely solid. While this is a full tower offering plenty of features, it is targeted mainly towards users that require silent operation without any severe compromises. The front panel has a shiny mirror finish and a slight hint of brushed aluminum. It's held on by magnets and opens up just past 90 degrees, with potential of it being damaged if not properly closed. The front intake airflow is delivered through the venting strips on each side of the panel, which is covered in noise dampening material. And the front has 4 optical drives with removable covers with a fan bracket that supports a 120mm fan. Also, a 3.5-inch adapter is included with a complementary bay cover. Moving on, another panel covers the 2 intake fans that doesn't open too wide but enough to remove the fan bracket that holds the fans. Now, this isn't really an issue when removing the bracket, but it could have been made easier. It supports 2 140mm fans with one included and has a built-in dust filter. The panel connectors are at the top to keep the front panel clean, with your audio power button with a blue LED, 2 regular USB ports and 2 USB 3 ports that connect through an internal 20-pin cable, and unfortunately no USB adapter is included. And the reset button is hidden behind the front door. The top panel is plain without any fan mounts, while still having support for the top mounted fan, which we'll see later on. At the back we have venting for the top fan, rear exhaust fan, I/O area, 7 PCI slots with the extra vertical one for the included fan controller, water cooling holes, and plenty of additional venting, and a bottom mounted power supply with a removable dust filter. The side panels pack quite a bit of weight to them due to the thick steel, and they're also covered in noise dampening material. You're also able to mount either a 120 or 140mm fan to introduce more airflow for the internals by taking off the noise absorbing material, or if silence is crucial to your needs, leaving the noise absorbing pad on the side panel is an option. Taking a look inside, the chassis internals is divided into 3 main chambers, separated mainly for airflow and user-friendly assembly. The optical drives are mounted with provided thumb screws, unfortunately no toolless system here, below which a modular hard drive cage which can be rotated for a more optimal airflow over the drives, or removed completely to allow direct airflow into the top chamber, and obviously mounting for extremely long graphics cards. All of the hard drive bays have silicon grommets to absorb vibration for the 3.5-inch drives, and the bracket is backwards compatible with the 2.5-inch drives as well. Fractal Design continues to incorporate this type of mounting system, which isn't bad, but a toolless mounting would definitely be more convenient. Moving on, the power supply is raised with rubber feet, above which we have a plastic plate that can be removed if the power supply is installed with the fan facing up. We have a fairly large CPU backplate opening with plenty of rubber grommets around the motherboard tray. The case comes equipped with 2 exhaust fans, 180mm fan for the top and 140mm for the rear exhaust. Now, the 180mm fan is angled and channels the airflow through the back. This is mainly to provide an isolated enclosure for silent operation while providing plenty of airflow with the large top fan. But unfortunately, this angled design has several major problems. One of which is the tedious removal of the fan that requires you to remove 2 screws on each side of the chassis and further unscrew the fan from the bracket. This also requires a lot of clearance and a potential removal of your CPU heatsink in order to pull out the top fan. Second, the fan is in place of the conventional cutout for your 8-pin CPU connector, meaning you have to route your 8-pin cable through the only available rubber grommet at the top, and an 8-pin cable extension is required in order to have reach, which unfortunately Fractal Design does not include. And lastly, no additional fan mounting options are available at the top, meaning potential is lost for any internal water cooling. Of course, this chassis is not targeted towards water coolers, but having a lot of room at the top and inside the case makes it ideal for such a setup. Checking the back, we have a CPU cutout door that can be opened when needed. Then we have plenty of cable tie mountings and a full inch of room to work with for all your cable management. And starting off with the assembly, the power supply bracket must first be rotated, as our power supply will be facing downward, taking cool air from the bottom. And when sliding the power supply in place, we discovered another major problem, and that is the placement of the cutout for all the power supply cables. Power supplies longer than 180mm will not have clearance, unless of course used modified. And we are pleased to report installing our system into the Define XL was quite a breeze. Came at no surprise due to the large internal area to work with, besides the small hiccup in the power supply chamber and routing the 8-pin cable. And coming around the back, cables can be tucked in behind the bottom hard drive cage, but can also be spread around the back with the help of all the cable tie mountings. And graphics cards a length of 13 inches are supported with the hard drive cage in place, so hopefully we won't need to remove the cage for installation of longer video cards. And to finish up, the CPU cutout is too small for motherboards with high CPU placement, but it shouldn't be of a concern for recently released motherboards. So to wrap things up, the Define XL packs in a lot of features like the minimalist design with noise dampening material all around, plenty of storage area and hardware possibilities with a decent cooling configuration right out of the box, and all that with an excellent solid construction. However, it seems as if Fractal Design has lost the sight of the full potential this chassis is capable of. For one, having fan mounts right on the top panel would make the chassis appealing to a larger market, especially for water coolers, as the main cause of this problem revolves around the angled fan, and on top of that, this would not allow clearance for some aftermarket coolers. And the relocation of the 8-pin cutout requires a long 8-pin cable, and an extension should have been available. And while most motherboard manufacturers are shifting towards the USB 3 support, the USB 3 to USB 2 adapter should have been included as well. The Define XL is a little bit of a disappointment, strictly because the chassis has a lot of potential that was not utilized. This narrows down the market to only those who want a large enough enclosure as a small server that will run quiet and cool without any additions from the user. And that concludes our review of the Fractal Design Define XL. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you next one.